We'll kick things off, though, with the Washington Commanders, who played in Monday Night Football. It's not often that we do Monday Night Football sort of topic because we usually do the show on the Monday night, but obviously today is Tuesday. Not that it will affect you listening to this in any which way whatsoever. But the Commanders lost last night 28-7 to the Kansas City Chiefs. A game that I felt, Andrew, that they... first half, they really stuck in it. And it felt like the second half sort of, folded away from them a little bit. And that the Chiefs really poured it on. But me and Andrew were sort of saying beforehand, Adam, were talking about the Packers-Steelers game. And I was saying, the best teams, they adjust and they figure a way how to change their game plan. The Steelers infamously don't do that, which they didn't do against the Packers. In the fourth quarter, the Packers ran all over them. The Commanders are a little bit handcuffed, aren't they, at the minute with what they can do in terms of changing up their aspect of their game. Jayden Daniels with his injuries, they had to start Marcus Mariota again last night, who, maybe in a year's time, we talk about him like he's Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. You never know in this game, but it certainly hinders them, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, the thing coming into the, season and the league was how slender Jayden Daniels was, wasn't it? That whether he'd be able to take the big hits. I know Adam was very much on the side of he's done it in college and, he's got hit in college. But these guys are a lot bigger in the NFL, aren't they? And they know how to sort of tackle properly. And there's loads of them on your team rather than just one superstar. So there's always going to be a slight on him. And it's now becoming present because he's becoming injured a lot. No major injuries that are sort of putting him out for the whole season. Just a lot of little injuries. It's his chest, it's his shoulder, it's his arm, it's his ankle, and that's all from the hits he's taken. So that's a concern for me for them going forward. That your franchise quarterback looks like he's going to miss games through the season, whether it be 2 or 3 weeks. So that's a big concern.
Yeah, I mean, he's missed 3 games this season, had a hamstring injury, the Cowboys, which he came, I believe he came out of the game for, which ruled him out against the Chiefs, Adam. I mean, now you've got Seattle next weekend. The rumor is he's not going to be good to go against Seattle. You then play Detroit again at Miami. Again, Mariota didn't play bad at all. You've got the bye week in 12. Do you at this point sort of think about maybe resting him until the bye week just to make sure he's absolutely at his peak level before they kick on to the tail end of the season where they've got the Broncos, they're at the Vikings, they've got all their division games in the massive huddle at the Giants, the Eagles, the Cowboys, and at the Eagles. That's a big slate of games and some big defenses you're coming up against in your second half there. He's going to get hit a bit.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they're 3-5, aren't they? So they're gonna, if you go down that route where you rest him for the next 3 weeks, you're probably going to be 3-5, 4-7.
Yeah. They're not beating Seattle and they're not beating Detroit, are they?
Not without him, no. So you're going to be looking at 4-7.
Do you even think with him though at this point? If
Yeah.
we look at how they're playing, we look at how Seattle and Detroit are playing at the minute. Yeah. They're primed for an NFC Championship spot, both of them.
I think if he's playing, then the Seahawks game, it's in Washington, becomes a bit more of a 50-50, I think. And I think that he's got a chance of creating some magic that will make a difference. The fact that they've missed McLaurin for as long as they have, and he came back against the Chiefs and looked okay. I think that's another one where I feel like there's a good chance that would improve them dramatically on the offense if they were both playing. So yeah, I think that against the Seahawks they would have a chance. I think against the Lions it would probably be difficult, but at least you're going like 1-1 over them 2 games. It keeps you in it, and then you've got arguably a much easier game against the Dolphins. So, but I mean, just in general, it's tough. They've got a tough schedule here, and it's not going to be easy for them to be able to do anything. But yeah, I think having him in the team, you're going to be better than not having him in the team.
4 wins was what you said there, right? And I know we said you said about
3 and 5.
3 and 5, but you said about them losses keep stacking up, Andrew. I know we said for Washington this year, we said before the season even started on this podcast, we said Washington are going to take a step back. We believe that. It's been completely evident. If they lose another 2, 3, 4, 5, let's call it 6 games they lose now. That's not close to being near 500. I know you can't technically go 500 anymore, but that's a dramatic step back considering the plaudits we gave Jayden Daniels, Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury the whole of last season. Like, that's got to. There's a step back, and then there's being bad.
Well, I think when we looked at it and when we talked about this division and we went over the Commanders, we all said, yes, there's going to be a bit of regression because there's more tape on Daniels. They won a lot of games by fourth down conversions in the fourth quarter to win games. And we said, like, that's not going to happen. So there's going to be a regression. But I remember I spoke about this to you guys when we did talk about the Commanders. The age of this team, especially on offense, is just littered with really, really old people. And then when you look at the young people they've drafted in, they're not of a high caliber sort of player that can sort of take the position and run with it. So I did say if there's injuries on this team, it's going to collapse and it is going to go bad. But yeah, from the amount of people hyped them up last year and the hype that they got this year and the hype that they're getting for the future, because I think even you guys said their roster's still good. Their roster's still good. It'll only be a small regression. I think there's a bigger picture to this. And I think moving forward, they might slip behind the Giants and the Cowboys if they don't address something soon, because it's an old offense. The defense is decent and your quarterback keeps getting injured. So I think there's a big picture here.
Would you concur, Adam? Because he is right. I mean, we said Deebo Samuel, we were very pleased for Washington with that trade in the offseason. We said that's a bit of a statement trade that they're going, right, this is our push in a way. And you get an injury to Eckler. They've had multiple injuries to wide receivers. There was that mess with Terry McLaurin before the season even started. Their O-line's pretty old. I mean, Larry Tunsil. There's positives in terms of Jacory Krusky Merritt, Bob Jacory Merritt. Everyone keeps calling him, which is nicknamed. He's having an outstanding season coming in. I don't think anyone saw that really coming. But this roster, you can't hang your hat on a lot of these people in this offense for the long term.
Yeah, I think it was about the reason that they've brought these players in, like your Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil, Von Miller. They've brought in. I think they felt that they wanted the experience there, and the idea was that obviously it was kind of let's go for it, wasn't it? You've got your rookie quarterback on his rookie quarterback deal, and we can pay these guys and let's go for it. And unfortunately, because he's picked up a couple of injuries this season, that has kind of limited what they can do. I mean, the fact is like that they're just not they just are not the same without him when he's not playing. So it does really bring a sort of like a downward step for them. Look, I mean, when it comes to the future, I mean, you've got a lot of older guys on there. So but I think that's been done by design. I think the idea is let's go for it now, and we've almost got like a 2-3 year window before we have to pay him a small fortune, and then then at that point, I think you have to readjust the roster in general and sort of like rebuild and bring in younger guys. So yeah, I think that was kind of that was what the play was, wasn't it? I mean, we kind of felt like that was just the logical thing. I personally just feel like the defense. I'm not 100% sure where it's ranked at the moment, but I feel like the defense hasn't been shockingly bad.
I beg to differ because I have all the rankings. Just
see, I've got them as 15th.
I've got them as 24th.
Okay.
What website are you using?
I'm on Fantasy Pros at the moment.
Well, I use Pro Football Reference.
Okay,
I think for me that's my favourite and best
probably
one.
better.
Well, yeah, you've actually led me very nice into the next question, which was you say about the money and where they can spend the money. They spent a lot of money on that defense. I know it's not crazy amounts, but bought in like Marshall Lattimore, Dan Quinn, meant to be his defensive genius, did pretty good with his defense in Dallas when he was a coordinator there. Had a pretty decent defense in Atlanta when he was the head coach there. 24th ranked defense. They can't defend the pass. They're 29th in yards, 26th in passing touchdowns. They've only had 4 picks this year as well. They're 25th in rushing yards and they're 13th in rushing touchdowns. They're mid to lower end in terms of yards per game and average yards, etc. But we're talking and we're concentrating about this offense, about Jayden Daniels being injured and the old age on the offense. The defense is a problem as well, and it's something I don't think we're talking about enough. You've just said, I thought they were pretty okay. Well,
it kind of felt like watching it. It feels like they've been all right.
They seem to not be able to catch a cold in winter when it goes into the secondary. Am I being unfair here? I mean, it's stats on paper. I always believe in the eye test as well.
I said it before Adam went in that I feel like the defense has just been okay. That's what I felt with it. I don't think they've been awful from the eye test, but okay is not good enough to get you in the playoffs, is it really?
And that's what's the shame is, and that's what we're going like. What does the future look like? Because when with Jayden Daniels and how he was last year, you're like, oh, here we go. Like this Commanders now playoffs for the next 7-8 years, maybe. We've got Lamar Jackson on our hands here, and Jayden Daniels. We've got the second coming. We've got potentially the team that is going to challenge the Eagles in a lot of people's minds before we saw how well the Cowboys offense is doing, and before we saw the emergence of how well Jackson Dart's playing, Cam Scatterbo as well. I know he's injured, but he was playing unreal before that, and also good defense with the Giants and the Eagles. It is a good defense on paper. They're not playing to their maximum level. They've still got a way to go. I think in the Cowboys defense is blooming dreadful. So what I mean, it can't just be a speed bump.
I feel like they've been unlucky with injuries. I know there's been a lot of injuries this year, but I just feel like it's when it's the quarterback, it really does kill it for this season. And like I say, I think it's been done by design to compete this year. But if you lose him, then you just end up just not going anywhere. I mean, I remember last year, as a Packers fan with Jordan Love, and he just picked up lots of little injuries all the way through the season. And it just completely derailed the whole season. He was never right throughout the whole season. And it feels like this is what's going to happen this year with Jayden Daniels. And I agree that when you look at these guys on the defense, on the offense, there's a lot of older names here. So in say like 2 or 3 years' time, there's going to have to be a big rebuild regarding this roster, because they're just not going to be able to compete with these guys.
Adam, you say we've been unlucky there, but if
with injury,
but if you're going to go out and get older players, and you know that your quarterback is a rushing quarterback and has the potential to get injured, isn't it just bad planning not to have a plan B? If you're all in this year, which we've all just said, they're all in, they want to push forward, they want to do better than what they did last year, which was nearly reach the Super Bowl. Is that not just bad planning?
Plan B looks like Marcus Mariota. I was
going to say, who are you getting then?
But Mariota
to be your backup quarterback.
I mean, I just think they should have thought about it better. I understand that Mariota's like, he's not. They don't play the same style, do they? Like that's not.
No, I agree with that. They're not exactly the same. But who do you go out?
But I don't just mean the quarterback. I mean across the board.
But I think that's where the big problem's been. The fact that he has been out injured. We see it all the time. I mean, with the quarterback play in this league, how much of the time do you see quarterbacks that are starting quarterbacks and they're not performing great?
What you're missing is the defense has been so poor that it's not even giving the backup a chance to succeed. Like you say about Jordan Love last year, niggling injuries. Yeah, absolutely. He didn't look really right after that. But you brought Malik Willis in and you had a great defense. You've got a great defense this year and you had a pretty decent defense at the end of last year and it kept you in games. So if this defense isn't keeping them in games I mean, that's your plan B, isn't it? If plan C, I suppose. Plan C is Mariota doing well. Plan B is, well, we're going to build an absolute hard-hitting defense that allows us that if there is issues on our offense, it's going to keep us still in games.
Yeah, I get your point. I understand what you're saying with that, and that obviously does make sense. But I think the problem is like you can't have everything, and a lot of the defense they had last year ended up leaving because they were on 1-year deals, weren't they? Because they didn't know, basically, they didn't really know what they had with Jayden Daniels and weren't expecting to be as good as what they were. Then, of course, they've all done great. And it's like they all end up going for big money deals elsewhere. So it's really difficult to be able to keep a decent defense and do that. I mean, you if that's, if you want to go down that route, then I suppose you've got to argue the coaching. Because if you're going to sort of like come out and say about Malik Willis at the Packers and stuff like that, a lot of people came out and said, well, that's Matt LaFleur doing really well as a head coach and being able to adjust and do that. Then rather than it being the roster, I think it might be more the coaching, and maybe what you're seeing is not necessarily Dan Quinn, but I can't remember who the DC is there now. But it's whoever's the sort of like the defensive play caller. I suppose you could argue that there's issues there, and that's why that's happened.
If they don't make the play, do any of you think they'll make a push and get to the playoffs this year?
I mean, not when you've got
no.
Not when you've got the Eagles. Dallas could scrape in on their offense. You've got
Eagles are going to top that group, and then you'd argue that the majority of the Seahawks, Rams, and 49ers will probably take up all the wild cards.
Lions, Packers, and then in the South you go just Bucks.
So I think if everything goes amazing for them, I think they're looking at 9 and 8, which isn't enough.
Isn't enough.
No.
So they don't qualify this year, and they've missed it, which is a step back from last year. Do either of you see it improving next year? They've got a first and a third, haven't they? They haven't got a second round pick. But do either of you see it improving dramatically, or do you think they have missed the trick and they are going to slide behind Dallas and the Giants in their division? Because we think the Philly are going to just continue to be good, don't we? So
I don't think you can say they're going to slide that much just yet, because I think we need to see another year of Jackson Dart in the offense and what happens with that. It's looking positive, but there's limitations there, and we've got to see what he does next season and if he can step up and continue his play. We've got to see what Dallas do in the offseason with that defense, I think. And
they got 2 first-round picks, and their offense looks great. So
exactly. So you can't. And then the Eagles are here to stay. We know the Eagles are here to stay. We can't discount that at all. So I don't think. I think the Commanders could go out in this offseason and have a really strong offseason in terms of getting a bit younger, getting some guys out of there, bringing some new guys in, making some astute moves. Really, it comes from organizational top to bottom of the astute moves they can make. But they won't be, they're not fools. They've seen Jackson Dart on telly for the Giants and seen the Giants defense, and they've seen how good the Cowboys offense is, and they know all about the Eagles. So they know that really this division, it's wide open in a way, actually, for any of these teams to really take it if they make the right moves and they put it all together. And it's just about really maybe keeping their fundamentals and believing in the coaches that they have, but reinforcing that to get a bit younger and to make some astute moves. That's the only way that I think they can still keep and compete in this division. That again, it sounds silly to say that now when we feel like the Eagles are going to run away with the division, but it is a very, very close division, really, in reality.
I think the Eagles win it again. Personally, I think they're I think they're miles ahead. And then next year, I think that all the teams will probably improve a little bit, and they'll all be roughly about the same. I think the next 3 are all pretty much similar. The Giants, I think need to desperately go out and get a second wide receiver and get rid of some of these sort of like little slot guys that they have. They need to get, a different type of person. The Cowboys have got serious work to do on the defense. And the Commanders, okay, they are older, but I think most of them will still be there next year. So, and they'll still be reasonably okay. So
I just fear they'll turn into what we're seeing with the 49ers, but not as good.
Yeah, I mean that would not be shocking at all.
Old and expensive and brittle.
Yeah, it's very possible that that's what could happen with them. But I think they've done this on purpose because of the rookie deal that Jayden Daniels is on. So they've just gone for it, and unfortunately, the injury to him this year has kind of messed it up a bit.
Would either of you say it'd be sensible for them to draft another quarterback?
No.
Not to take his position, but
no, there's no point. You might as well come in and get yourself a. If you don't believe that Mariota's the guy, then you get a veteran who is similar.
They've got
maybe like you could, if you wanted to, you could go out and get say someone like Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, it fits the bill. That's what I don't understand why the Ravens haven't been playing.
Kyler Murray, maybe get Cliff and Kyler back together. Kyler backs up.
That would be quite fun.
I don't think that's that ridiculous, personally. I actually don't think that's that ridiculous.
I think he'll get a starting job somewhere.
Well, we shall just have to wait and see.